teen in pornography doesn't necessarily refer to teenagers. It's more in reference to a body type. Any petite performer would be categorized as teen. Age doesn't necessarily play into that as much as people think it does.
It feels like you're saying like, oh, teen, you know? It's hard to come up with a solution to tagging like that doesn't feel like you're policing people's sexuality that they're allowed to have because they're a legal adult.
This is willful ignorance. This clown, porn industry professional, is willfully saying that pedophiles are just normal people. And who are we to judge their sexual preferences? By the way, her actual job description is porn script writer.
I just Googled actually, porn script writer, is that a job? And it was.
I can't attest to the quality of writing in the average porn scene because I don't watch porn due to its exploitative and degrading nature. Or, as liberal feminists would put it, I'm too much of a puritanical princess. But from what I've heard, porn script writing is pretty bad. So she's not only a pedophile enabler, but also a retard. Today, I am yet again exposing myself to woke brain rot for internet points. Let's go. The movie I'll be reviewing is an original Netflix documentary called Money Shot, the Pornhub story. Before I begin, a quick introduction. My name is Mariana, and on my channel I dissect film, television, and video games from a radical feminist perspective. So if this interests you, please consider subscribing. Also, I want to let you guys know that this video will have still images instead of the usual video clips. Netflix copyright striked me for having too many clips in one video. It seems that they are extra protective of this movie in particular. My future videos will be back to the usual video clip formatting. Pornhub is one of the world's most popular porn websites, and certainly the most recognizable one. It's infamous for displaying child porn. For the majority of the site's existence, anyone could post almost anything on it, without ID verification. As a result, rape porn and child porn commonly appeared on the website, not only because the poster was anonymous, but also because the people in the videos didn't have to be ID verified.
She was a minor. He drugged and raped her and filmed her. The video is on Pornhub.
And when rape victims submitted takedown requests to the site, it took months for Pornhub to respond, which would allow the video to gain views, get downloaded, and possibly be reposted to other sites.
She requested multiple times over the years to have it removed. They would have a backlog of like 6 months.
After this lengthy period, if the video was taken down by Pornhub, the video's page would still stay up, and that page would recommend similar CP videos.
For Pornhub, you would see the entire page. The video would just be disabled. So you would see the title, the history of all the comments over the years, you'd see how many views it had, and you would see related videos. So, oh, you were searching for this young, abused teen video? Well, unfortunately, this was removed by NCMEC, but don't worry, we have all of these similar videos.
So when Pornhub's CP and sex trafficking scandal blew up on social media, guess how both the company and its most popular adult porn stars reacted? Go ahead. I'll wait. Guess. I'm sure the adult porn stars were perfectly reasonable and didn't at all defend Pornhub, right? Right? Fuck no. You know how this works. Rule 1 of online political discourse. The libtards and the conservatards will do anything to push their agendas.
Because I know that Pornhub is being used as shorthand for the entire porn industry, and I do want to defend the porn industry because I know that criticisms ultimately end up hurting performers the most.
Here's a porn star saying that online safeguarding shouldn't happen because it makes child traffickers harder to find.
It made child traffickers harder to find. That's what that law did.
That's like saying that stealing should be legal, otherwise robbers will be secretive when they steal and harder to find. In fact, Pornhub allegedly paid porn stars to defend the website. These porn stars use sex positivity and the harms of stigmatizing prostitution as talking points to defend Pornhub.
This campaign included numerous MindGeek Pornhub models who were instructed via direct messages on Pornhub's website and provided with talking points to disseminate MindGeek's disinformation.
The porn stars dismissed the hard work of the people who exposed Pornhub's malpractices by saying that these people were Christian extremists. So much for believing all victims. This is a spokeswoman from the so-called extremist Christian company.
It really is irrelevant what your faith background is, what your political beliefs are. everyone can be unified on this issue that no one should be sexually exploited.
Wow, so extreme. Additionally, as recent events involving Erica Kirk have shown, Christian women are clearly neither stupid nor weak, like liberal feminists claim. Christian women's ideas should not be automatically dismissed on the basis of religion. These porn stars can't admit that they're wrong because they're too invested in sex positivity and the pro-porn agenda.
What increasingly negative media around porn hurts is porn performers who are very publicly involved in the porn industry. You know, they're very publicly involved in this in a way that, if you've been doing it for a while, is very difficult to erase fully.
Even when they are clearly in the wrong, their egos and personal investment in porn do not allow them to admit any fault. Furthermore, these rich porn stars are financially dependent on Pornhub.
But the reason that they're having to cling to this horrific entity is because they've made it. That entity has made it so. It's made them dependent on them.
Overall, the porn stars are extremely casual in the way they talk about minors.
Leaving a porn magazine in the woods for somebody to find, you know, and like maybe a group of 6 teenagers would find it in the woods and you would make their day.
It was at a sleepover, I was with a girlfriend, and at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., something special came on.
Also, apparently Pornhub bought billboards in Times Square, where children are. This shouldn't be legal. But whenever anyone criticizes Pornhub for this disgusting behavior, the criticism is labeled as unjust censorship. In 2018, Trump signed a bill called Sesta Fasta, which held online websites like Pornhub accountable for hosting sex trafficking content. Before, online websites were not liable for the content posted by its users. After the bill was passed, websites everywhere removed prostitution-related content. Reddit, for example, took down its sex work subreddit. Instagram banned porn accounts. Prostitutes were deplatformed because of these safeguarding practices. These porn stars, predictably, then used sex positivity, stigma, and feminism as a way to complain about sex trafficking safeguards. Feminism, that worn-out word used to justify the porn industry and everything that comes along with it. Porn isn't feminist, though. Appealing to the gaze of pathetic internet coomers never is. For one thing, porn fetishizes everything from race to body type. The documentary has an entire section dedicated to fat positivity. I've talked about this topic many times already, not because I necessarily want to. I recently spent way too much time down random YouTube rabbit holes, and I was unlucky enough to watch a documentary about feeders. Feeders are men who are sexually aroused by feeding women until they become morbidly obese. Their kink is to make women gain weight. The psychology behind this is that the men enjoy the idea of their partners gaining so much weight that they cannot move, and are therefore dependent on these men.
Mark began the process of growing his wife. He wished to make her the fattest woman in the world.
This is the actual Mark's scrapbook. We made a deal, and she said I could finally take a picture of her without her clothes on, but I had to go buy a Polaroid camera. So...
Well, I didn't want you taking that kind of thing to get developed.
Oh, give the guys a thrill. Most of the photographs were taken to capture different angles, different views, different basic fantasies. Having her bend over in front of the camera so I could see her tush, hold her boobs, show how much trouble she has trying to hold her own boobs. That's a nice thought of how big she really is. When she bends over here in the hallway, she basically fills the hallway. That's a really good FA picture. It's a great fantasy thing to see how big she really is.
Tell them about the progression of using the same shot in different weights to show a growth.
We did repeat the same poses over and over so that I could see the growth. I actually wrote on the photos her weight as I could estimate it. This was the fantasy I had lived for my whole life. I had always wanted a fat girl who got fatter. That's how FAs are. They like fat girls. They want to see them grow. They enjoy being with them while they grow. They love it when they can just let go and eat what they want and not let societal pressures tell them, you know, well, you're fat, you should only have a salad.
In 10 years of marriage, Gina had put on nearly 400 pounds, taking her from 28 stone to 55 stone. Mark put his photographs into a video, which he planned to sell to other fat admirers.
Feeders sometimes do want to have their partners become so large that they become physically immobile.
That is the stated desire of a feeder, to get their partners to the point where they are completely dependent for their every need. It's a form of permanent 24/7 bondage, if you will.
You can hold somebody prisoner in a house, you can hold them prisoner in your cellar, or you can hold them prisoner in their own body.
Mark made a third and final video of Gina. His intention was to capture the last time his wife would be able to walk.
This is the beginning of Real FG's last stand. A real FG, meaning a real fat girl. Or times when I need to achieve a climax or a physical gratification quickly. This always does it quickly.
I mean, while I don't find it attractive, if someone else does, well, then I guess I'm glad I was able to provide that for them.
To give you a sense of how extreme feederism is, in this documentary, the men feed buckets of junk food all day to their bedridden wives. This is obviously disgusting behavior. Any man who is aroused by physical illness should not be trusted. A good man wants his partner to be healthy. How is it feminist to appeal to men like this? I've linked this documentary about feeders in the description below the video. I would recommend watching it, but fair warning, it will ruin your entire day. It's explicit, not for anyone under 18, and it's not for the faint of heart. This feeder documentary I've linked is a YouTube video with 700k views, and it aired on the Discovery Channel, so it's safe enough to follow YouTube guidelines. But still, it's the darkest documentary I've ever watched in my life. Be really fucking warned. Why watch this video? Because it'll make you less naive, and it's the strongest argument against fat positivity in porn that I've ever seen. On the other side of the same coin, we have influencers like Eugenia Cooney, who actively promotes anorexia. She makes most of her money from men who fetishize her skinny frame. Again, because her skinniness makes her helpless and weak, which is arousing to these men.
But some tags are banned because some of the kinky stuff is harder for them to sell to, like, credit card processors.
Oh really, is that why kinky stuff is banned? This, of course, is different from a man who loves a woman no matter what she looks like. Life happens, people change, and food addiction is increasingly common. I think that if you fall out of love with someone because they've gained a lot of weight, you were never in love in the first place. Maybe I'm just a romantic, but that's not soulmate behavior. Once you commit, you commit. You do not leave your partner for any superficial reasons whatsoever. Not for weight gain, aging, not even for a nose piercing. Okay, maybe for a nose piercing, but that's like the only superficial reason allowed. Anyways, you should leave your partner if they are mistreating you or for character-related reasons, of course, but superficial reasons like weight should not be a factor once you're in love. And people can fall in love for character and charisma-related reasons rather than looks. And then there's the fetishization of race. The top search terms on Pornhub includes Asian. This fetishization of Asian women is based on the stereotype that Asian women are submissive and agreeable, which obviously isn't always true considering I'm Asian. At the same time, left-wing activists will also push for the narrative that Asian women are promiscuous in order to fight the model minority stereotype. These activists will sexualize and degrade Asian women to, ironically, fight racism. Pretty sure you can lift up other minority races without making Asian women do degrading things. The opening shot of this woke Netflix movie is of an Asian Pornhub spokesperson. Both the right-wing fetishization of Asian women and the left-wing degradation of Asian women are racist and irritating, and I've had enough of it. Porn is anti-feminist because porn worsens bad men. It's not a coincidence that every incel, serial killer, and mass shooter is porn addicted. Porn addiction is like drug addiction. It makes users crave more and more extreme content, which invariably becomes extremely depraved. Another point I would like to make is that men do not deserve sexual access to women. Like, I would just leave it at that and not elaborate, but saying that this is probably impractical, I'll elaborate. Men should not have sexual access if they are of poor character, lazy, and treat women badly. Porn allows the worst men in society to get sexual access to women for free. Just look at the porn titles of the videos shown in the documentary and tell me that porn is feminist with a straight face. One of the titles encourages incredibly unprofessional behavior, aka a woman begging to give her employee a blowjob. Another fetishizes breastfeeding. Here, a porn star rates men's penises for money.
All right, first wiener of the day. You've got a great dick. It's ample size. It looks like a very nice, well taken care of dick. I can tell that you've put some effort into your grooming. It looks very well moisturized. It's like reminiscent of a really big banana. It looks like you have a pretty good sized dick.
I mean, is it really feminist to compliment men's mediocre penises? What, is it feminist because she's making money from these men? A more important question, how would you even go about doing this without throwing up? A side note, the CEO of Pornhub is a Middle Eastern man, a region known for its puritanical view of women and especially misogynistic men. Rules for thee, but not for me, apparently.
Financial institutions have a really impressive amount of power over the porn industry. There's just a whole really long laundry list of terminology that you cannot use. A lot of it is very queer-phobic, like fisting.
I could say a lot of mean things about this woman, all of them deserved, but I pity her. She is so deeply entrenched in handmaiden pick-me ideology that she could not distinguish a predator from a newborn kitten, much less a healthy partner from an unhealthy one. A woman like this is so emotionally toxic that she will never know true love.
If I didn't have the stable income from OnlyFans, I would be put back in a place where I might have to consider accepting shoot requests from companies that I haven't worked for before that I maybe don't trust, or I question their set environment.
Well, considering you have enough money to live in Los Angeles, and you have marketing skills, you could just, get a normal 9-to-5 job. Altogether, this movie was pretty woke, though it did do an okay job in exposing some predatory aspects of Pornhub. Can't say I would recommend it. Women need to realize that prostitution is designed to benefit men while physically and mentally harming women. I do not believe in shaming women who participate in prostitution because they are forced to, either out of trafficking or financial obligation. However, if you are an obnoxious upper-middle-class OnlyFans prostitute who pushes this lifestyle on young girls, justifies child exploitation, and uses the word queer, you can bet your ill-gotten dollar that I'm going to roast you for it. So this is the second time I'm re-uploading this video. It got taken down the first time for having a very short clip of someone in the movie Googling Pornhub. All that was shown was text from a Google search of Pornhub, and it was in an educational context. Apparently that's not allowed. I suspect trans activists reported my video because my video was up for over 12 hours, so it wasn't an automatic system flag, which usually happens before I click publish. Also, less than an hour before the video was taken down, a bunch of trans activists were following me around on Reddit, reporting all my posts. The second time the video was taken down, it was via a Netflix copyright strike. I've reviewed many Netflix movies in the past, and have never had a problem until now. I've also never had a copyright strike in the history of my channel, and I've shown clips of countless movies. So again, weird. I'm asking you all to please share this video more often than usual, for YouTube algorithm purposes. Thanks as always for watching, and see you in the next video.